Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to the first ever Flyte marketing drop-in clinic. Lots of you who've already shown up at the very beginning, which is fantastic. I think you will get the most out of it versus folks who dip in a bit later on, but I do make it optional, and people can drop in as they please. The format today is pretty simple. I'm going to give a kind of quick, I think, summary of the topic, which is content calendars. We haven't decided the next topic yet. I think that's up for discussion in this session. So maybe at the end we will kind of do a little bit of maybe a vote, or at least kind of have some thoughts about what people really want to talk about in these sessions to do with their marketing. So we'll open that to the floor at the end. I think in terms of, I'll let Orhan kind of do the structure of it, but yeah, if people, if they have specific things to talk about, they'll get an opportunity to ask that. But also there'll be more broad kind of discussion of the topic. So I've talked enough. I'm going to hand it over to Orhan. I will be here for the whole session. Bella is asleep, so you have my undivided attention, at least until she wakes up.
Excellent. Thank you, Bigby. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see all of you and your AIs. That's awesome. I love the fact that we have AIs and I get digital summaries of every meeting we're on. It's a whole new world. But again, my name is Orhan McMillan. I am my first year with Flyte, and I'm very excited. I'm working as an advisor, a mentor. And because, my experience has been two big areas overall in all my years of doing business, coaching and advising and working with business. It's finances and marketing, ongoing, never resolved. So Flyte's got the finances, and now we're going to talk about the marketing. So the idea, like Bigby said, is to have an informal session 2 times a month, where specifically, if you have an issue or a concern or something you want to look at, please bring it. I don't have all the answers by any means of the word, but maybe collectively we can look at what the problem is, the challenge you're having, and we're going to have a theme each time. I'm going to come up with some decent schedule, but like you said, I'd also like to hear suggestions about things you would like to talk about. I can add it to our running list, schedule it, like I said, very informal, the way we're going to do it. And as I wing this, I think what I'm going to do first is find out, does anybody today have a particular thing they would like to discuss in the time we're together? You can do your hand raise, you can put it in chat.
Is that around content calendars, or is that any marketing topic?
Anything in marketing in general. Yes, definitely on content calendars, but anything in marketing in general. Because I want to make sure and do the best I can to say, okay, if I have 4 people that have particular issues, let me cut off me talking at this point so I can make sure and have time for each individual.
I'd love to also at some point discuss social media ads and Google Analytics.
Okay. All right. Now, would that be a topic for a future session, or just maybe a quick overview today, and then we can decide if we want to go into more detail?
I have no idea how exhaustive that can be. So if it's exhausting, then perhaps like a future session, like maximizing or optimizing your SEO and different things that you can do, like with Google, the best way to do ads, social media marketing ads, or any sort of campaigns and things like that. So it sounds like it might be big to me. So perhaps future ideas.
And then what we may do too is, because some of this we're going to be doing in the 4 courses of the marketing classes, but we can touch on some of those, because I know part of on the marketing class itself, there's going to be a section on analytics, and that's analytics across the board, and doing the best you can to understand the analytics, because there's so much information. But I wrote those 2 things down too. Does anybody else have anything else they would like to also either cover at a future session or specifically today?
I did have a question. It's Shy. Are you
Shy.
gonna cover Are you gonna cover when's the best time to post for the algorithm of each social media network?
I am not, because I don't know the answer to that question. I just basically I do the best I can with the clients that I manage, kind of thing. But I will talk about some ideas behind my logic on timing um, in that as well. So I will address that today. Yes.
Hi, Melanie here.
I'm Mel.
I would love to also make space, if not today, but for future, of non-traditional ways of marketing and storytelling.
Yeah. Oh, I don't need to write this down. We have a recording. We have 5 different AIs writing all this for me. Why am I bothering with a pen? Thank you. Yes, Melanie, let's do that as well. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Kathy, can you hear me better now? Can you all hear me okay?
You're a little
I
soft in comparison to Big B. Oh, sorry.
Say again. How's my volume?
I can hear you.
Ohan. Hello.
Hey, Kathy.
Hi. That was me, Ohan. I could hear everyone else perfectly fine except you, and I've turned
Okay.
up my sound and still could hardly hear you.
Okay. How's it going now? How can the rest of you, can everybody hear me okay now?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can.
All right. We'll keep it up. I'll make sure I had kind of moved my computer a little bit. Okay. All right. Well, let's get started on the content calendar concept. So, a content calendar for social media or marketing in general is pretty specific as to what it's a way of keeping track of what I'm trying to do in some organized fashion. Now, I'm going to show y'all different methods that I use, and you're going to be very terrified that this is actually how I organize my stuff, but it works for me. There's a set of documents that I use, there's a set of note-taking things that I use in the 4 or 5 accounts that I manage, and plus my 3 different personas that I have. But I think one of the most important things is to understand what works for you. You know, the way you work, the way you operate, when you're in front of a computer, when you're not in front of a computer, and find a system that works. And so I'll go through several of those and we'll look at some, and I've got some online examples as well. So to start out, you know, the main thing of a social media or a content calendar is simply a document or a repository where you keep track of items that you want to promote in your marketing. Whether that be blog posts, whether that's social media posts, whether that's email marketing, any of those things that you want to be able to keep track of as your marketing campaign. So why? You know, why would you need this? Well, it helps with consistency is one of the big things by having some type of calendar filing system. Because one of the key things in social media, whether you can do 1 post a month or you know, 1 post every 3 hours, is being consistent. That's an important part because consistency is really important so that you have a flow of information and messaging going out. The other thing that a content calendar will help you do is it helps you better plan and strategize about your content and your concepts so that you can actually map things out, that you can actually do things throughout a year. Usually, you know, you want to look at a year, overall a year. And so you can time different types of different months of the year based on your industry and the work you're doing, and look at how that overall thing in a year, are you getting across all your different topics? And so a lot of times what I'll do with mine is I'm looking at, and with the clients that we're covering the major things of their areas of expertise, whatever their services are, and make sure and intertwine those on a monthly basis as an overarching concept, but then be able to get granular and make sure that each month, depending on how much content I'm putting out, that I cover those areas. It just really helps me stay on track, honestly. Another advantage of having some type of a content calendar is time management and efficiency. I don't have to think a lot when it comes to time because the way I do mine for my clients is 2 times a month, I go in and I actively work, and I schedule over a 2-week period. So beginning of the month and middle of the month, I do active where I'm building ads and concepts, et cetera, messaging, and then I schedule them. I like that because I don't, just for me personally, I'm not interested in a full month. You know, I like the freshness of it. I like, it gives me a break. I enjoy doing content creation. So it's kind of fun. And then it also gives me a chance to help communicate with the clients 2 times a month to say, what is it you need? Now, you're going to be doing a lot of this for yourself. And it's no different because I have my web design marketing company, I have my Orhan Macmillan company, and I have my mindfulness company. And so even though it's still me, by having these content calendars, it's a repository for me to put the information I know that I want to do for each of my 3 different, and I call them my personas. So again, it really helps me get in, make content, schedule content, get on back to my other work. Another great aspect of content calendaring usage is it improves collaboration if you're working with other people. So if you're a team or you have someone else, or in the case of a few people I know, if you have like a virtual assistant working with you on your content, if you're going to have someone else working with you on your content, you have to have something written down so that you all can stay on the same page of what's going out, what's the messaging, what's the expectation. But it improves that place for collaboration. So does anybody, definitely be asking questions through this, any other ideas of why having a organized system for content repository be helpful for you? Any other ideas that maybe I didn't talk about? Time management, organization, strategic planning. Okay. Additional benefits of having that, you know, again, I talked about the organization, but by doing that as well, I can also use analytics and tracking that's a little bit there so that as I am posting around concepts, I can go look and see what the engagement was, what the level of, you know, engagement with the content was. And so I can use that data to say, hey, this topic was really well received. I had a lot of engagement around this topic or this month's theme. I may want to repeat that again. And again, really all of this, and we'll talk about this more at our marketing month, a month of marketing, is all of this really needs to align or to support some type of marketing strategy that you have. That's something that we're going to talk about building. Instead of just throwing something at a wall to see if it sticks, you really should be doing through a marketing strategy of knowing, okay, these are goals. Well, even before that, like I said, we'll talk more. Um, uh, SWOT analysis. These are my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. These are the goals I want to achieve. This is the timeline I want to achieve them in the marketing aspect. And so then I've got a strategic thing that then all this content supports. If I'm looking to get into a different area of expertise, building this into the marketing plan, so I'm creating content that supports that, is another part of all of this. All right, Melanie has a hand raised. Go ahead, Melanie.
Yeah, I was just gonna also add, you asked other benefits, and one thing that came to me is that with this content calendar, it makes sense then that you can do what I'm calling like a brand content audit, where you can see what the vibe and the flow is of your messaging to see if it's consistent, if maybe like even visually, if it's too light or if it's too dark, or if it's like you want to vibe in a different way. That like, it's really great to have this calendar, it seems, to be able over time to see and ensure that you are in alignment with what you're trying to message.
Exactly. And the other thing is it gives it a place to space it out, because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes, like right now, I've got a lot happening and there's a lot of great announcements and things. And although I want to put every single one out tomorrow, I'm not going to do that. I specifically stop myself, and that's why I have it written down. There may be posts that I do, and I'll show you, like particularly my Orhan Facebook page. The picture was actually 3 months ago. It's not time relevant, but I'm spacing it out so that over time I'm showing the visual of doing roundtables. And so, I'll show you a couple examples of that. But it also, having this kind of mindset also allows me to have a place to stick the stuff, go put it, knowing that I'm going to come to it, but I'm going to prioritize when it needs to go out. So we had a graduation at one of the roundtables that I participate in. Nobody in my world cares when I win a graduation. They really don't care. They really don't care anyway. But I had some other things that were more timely that I pushed up on my calendar. I'm like, okay, this needs to go out because I'm registering people for an event. Let me push the graduation announcement, because what I'm letting people know is manyfold that I do roundtables, and I'm also, looking for people to join the next roundtable. So the company that hires me to do the roundtable will hire me because we have participants. So there's many different things that I'm trying to accomplish, but I'll get into that when I get into some particulars. Thank you, Melanie. All right. So what are some elements of a content calendar? First of all, what kind of content do you want to do? Like I said, are you doing blog posts? Are you doing videos? Are you creating infographics? Is it still images with messages? Is it podcast? I mean, whatever the stuff that you're putting out there, first of all, you're going to keep track of this type of content you want to make. And as we all know, you want a nice mixture of those things. You want image representation, you want video representation, you want you representation, you want graphic representation. You want to repurpose other people's information as well. So you want to make sure that that is part of the equation, where I'll go find some information from another either reliable source or partner source, and I go share their stuff on my pages. Right now, me personally, I'm trying to, as I'm in the Natchitoches community, I'm trying to build relationships within that community business-wise. So that's the chambers and universities and education systems and all of those type of the small business communities. So I'm repurposing a lot of their content on my pages because I want them to see that I'm there supporting them. So that's kind of part in my formula that I'm using is they make sure and check the Natchitoches Chamber website or Facebook or social media, and then share their information about upcoming events or upcoming things that are happening. And it also lessens the load on me to come up with content ideas. The other element of a calendar system is an idea of how frequent you're going to do this or how you want to schedule this. I shared with y'all, mine is on a 2-week basis. And that every 2 weeks, there's a day that I block off on the calendar. It's marked, it's on my work calendar. So on this Tuesday, I know that, these 5 hours, it's blocked off, and that's when I'm doing social media content for clients. And then I do a second one for myself. I separate the two because usually after I'm finished creating the client content, I'm kind of tired and my brain, the creativity, and I don't want to just do mine because I have to do it. So I separate mine into those two entities. You also want to know, is there specific content on different platforms? So I know we're talking social media, but I kind of wrap email marketing into it. And then so I'm like, okay, this is going to go out on my MailChimp account. This is going to go out on Facebook. This is Instagram. This is LinkedIn, etc. Key dates. So that's another part of having like a calendar ideas. What are some major things that are happening in that calendar, whether that be holidays, whether it be national observances? I do a lot of, especially in the client stuff, that if it's, so one of the organizations that I do is for assistive technology for people with visual and physical disabilities. So I'm always looking for, National Alzheimer's Month, National Multiple Sclerosis Disability Month, and I tie those into the content that I create for them because it brings awareness of those things, and again, educates the follower or the fans and the followers of the particular organizations. I'm gonna go through, let's see. Let's do this here. Let's go ahead and look at, I made a little outline. That's what I'm kind of scanning here. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at a couple things. Now, like I told y'all a minute ago, when I show you how to do it, you're gonna be like, really? This is what you do? But it works for me. So my main way, so a lot of times, like for clients, I have like, oh, let me share my screen, sorry. I'll have so for this client here, I keep track. It's a bullet list. It's a Google Doc. Employee recruitment. They're a security company, so they have armed guard services, unarmed, events, weddings, security escorts. They're a security company, so I'm constantly doing safety tips. I have a list of who their competitors are because I'm always kind of monitoring and seeing what they're doing. I have a list of what the call to actions are for this company. They want a phone call and they want some website visitation, but they really want you to make calls to their office. We do birthdays with them. I also do a lot of do some jokes, bring a little humor into the arena there, and so that's one place that I keep track. So it's a Google Doc. Now this client sends me a monthly digest of what they'd like to include. This other client sends me a monthly digest of what they want. And so I have a Google Doc for them, and I said to copy all the stuff in email, throw it on the Google Doc, and then it's up to me to post stuff, right? So it's empty right now because I've done it all. I'm waiting on the next load, but I'll take it, copy and paste it in there. But I know with this client, the areas that they kind of drive what we put out for them. Also, this is where y'all gonna laugh at me. So I live on Evernote. Evernote is an online note-taking software. I have Evernotes for actually Nicole knows this because Nicole and I talk offline about TV shows. So I even have an Evernote that is what I want to watch because people make suggestions. I don't want to forget it, and I'm not going to remember all that stuff. But my point of this one is I have an Evernote for the exercise program that I'm doing. I really do keep everything on Evernote because I don't want to have to think about any of this. But this is kind of my main life document I have for this company, and then I've got it for this company, and I've got it for this company. But down here, and this works for me. This is what I was talking about. Find what works for you. This is kind of like my to-do list. But down here, you'll see social. So because things pop in my head at all times, and this note is on my phone, I can access it through my computer. And so through the day, if I think of something or they say something, I go write it down. And so, there's a mechanical heat safety tips, talk about energy efficiency. I need to add their Facebook icon. This is where I get into my stuff. So I just did a newsletter about AI training and AI workshops. I need to remember to go take that MailChimp link and drop it in there when we complete web. So this is my Designs Interactive. We finished a website. You want to promote work done. Did a logo redesign. I need to start promoting an upcoming roundtable for a peer-to-peer roundtable that I'm doing. I need to start, encouraging people to register for that. So this is my organizing system, and this works for me. And I go down. This is the Orhan Macmillan one. I've got the National Leadership Education Day coming up. I've got to announce that I'm in Flyte. I just talked to Big B about that. That was like 3 weeks ago. I sent him the proof. I haven't posted it yet because it hasn't fallen into my priority. But this is kind of like my brain dump for me. I've tried other things and they don't work for me. This works for me. It works for the work I do. Now I'll look at a couple other areas, and then I'll kind of give you a little bit of a workflow. So let me go here. And then there's tons of stuff that you can download. HubSpot is a big resource for those that don't know it. HubSpot. They have lots of free, great marketing information. Now they have a content calendar that kind of gives me anxiety because, how much time do I want to spend filling out a calendar as opposed to actually doing it, right? Like sometimes I feel like I can get lost in this and like I can actually be, okay. So I have a calendar. How much detail do I really need to have inside of this? So this does not work for me. But it may work for someone else that says, okay, well, on this Tuesday, I want to do a blog post, then I want to do a holiday post, etc. So you can do it in the form of an interactive calendar if you want. Here they have a tab, and I can share this with everyone. I just downloaded it off the internet. here is where they call it the content repository page. So, okay, on the website, they're going to put a post about the return on investment of using HubSpot. This is the link. Looks like this was some text. Image to be determined. So they're keeping track of this. I can see this for a larger company, but again, I don't need all of this. I'm going to have a blog post about the ultimate social media holiday calendar for 2019. But again, they're basically keeping a list of the things that they want to post on their content. And then they break it down into specifics, platforms. So Twitter, and then you go into which one is this one? I can't see my little things in the way. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I don't need that much detail in my life, and I don't need that much organization. You might, but again, finding ways that work for you, and they have a whole user's guide on how to use their content calendar here. Marketing stuff. So like I said, I can send all of this to you, and you can have that as an example. But it kind of, again, it goes to what works for you, what tools do you have, what's readily available to you, and how much organization do you need. That works out really well. Let's see, I wanted to go to, let's go to an example. And the other thing is you can also use, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You can use like if you're a Facebook user, or if that's your audience, you can use the Facebook dashboard. My clients are primarily Facebook and LinkedIn. I do some Instagram just because I can do it and not have to overthink it. But my primary platforms are Facebook and Instagram as far as social media, and LinkedIn, and then email marketing tied into that. But I can easily go here to the business suite, and I've got my planner. Facebook has the planner built in that you can schedule. This is how you schedule your stuff, pending all of that. I can kind of look and see. You can see what my last week postings were. You can save those, see what's coming up. I think, yeah, this week is content week for me. And so that's when I'll start creating new content posts for that. But they've got a bunch of information here that you can use as well to help track if Facebook is your main one. LinkedIn has some scheduling features, but they don't have like a dashboard like this by any means. Let's go back to the page. And again, it's, like I said, just to give an example. So Leadership Natchitoches is a program that I'm involved in. And so we meet once a month. And so because I'm trying to establish, great business and personal relationships in the Natchitoches community, that's one thing I repurpose. So this is something they posted on their chamber website. And I shared it to mine with my own comments, and then of course I tag and all of that kind of stuff, because these are a lot of partners of mine, the community college, the university, and the school board. I'm working with the school board right now to get in some curriculum development. So of course I'm going to tag the school board. But I kind of keep track of this. This is the thing I'm speaking at next Friday, cross promoting myself. This is some internal things that I had done on my personal website, talking about using AI for content marketing. This was the graduation. So this graduation was posted in June of 26. I think the graduation might have been in April. So I just saved it for a while until I found a place and time that I felt like it was needed. But that's kind of like how and here's another AI, right now I'm kind of pushing some workshops on AI, etc. Also trying to get hired to do individual training in companies for AI. So I'm pushing all this content about AI right now. Random stuff like that. So that's kind of how I manage mine and organize mine. So I want to hear now from you. So what are some thoughts on that? What are some of the ways that you all currently organize your content and keeping track of it for social media? calling somebody. I'm calling Nicole. So Nicole, you
Don't.
got, because you and you don't.
So that was actually my question is, I'm terrible at social media. Like it's something I go on and I look at my memories because it's like a scrapbook. But like, but I'm trying to figure out like maybe a habit that I can add to something that I can start actually incorporating this into my life in a meaningful way where I'll actually keep it up.
Well,
So
it's one of those things just in general, pulling it out of a content calendar system. I right or wrong, I tell people, right, when I'm talking to someone, use it to the best degree you can. I mean, outside of rare instances, social media is not going to make or break your business. It improves, it supports, but it's not the end all be all. There's so much more of a successful business outside of whether I post on Facebook or not. So I always like to, Jamie said, yeah, now it's not. Do what you can. Now, what you don't want on any of those things, including your website, you don't want the last post to be 2022. I take the thing down and don't have one at all. I'd rather you not have any of this than to have something that outdated, because that, if somebody accidentally clicks on that, if you have the Facebook icon on your website and they see that and they're like, there's nothing positive. No, whether they're too busy or whatever, that's, you just don't want that kind of, you at least want something periodic. But again, it's just kind of thinking about things you want to share, information. I love sharing information, especially, like I said, I'm really, embracing my new community. So I'm trying to find as much information as it relates to entrepreneurship and workforce development and equality. And so, all those other things that I believe in that I can share on my platforms, but also promote. So
okay,
Nicole,
so
for as much of a writer, because you and I work together, you're a fabulous writer, you're fabulous at what you do. What is it? Is it the personal, putting my personal me out there, or content, or what?
I guess that's part of my question is one, time sucks. I usually try to avoid like the plague, like any sort of temptations. Like I can be an impulse buyer at a grocery store. So I try to make sure I eat before I go in, do all the different things. Like Facebook and other social media can be a rabbit hole. So I'm already trying to change my mindset about social media. But I already do what you're talking about on a regular basis. I'm a knowledge nerd. I read things all the time. I write on a regular basis. I just don't do the extra mile of sharing any of it. And I guess that's also my question too, is I do have a personal Facebook, but I'm a coach and consultant educator. I'm toying with the idea of my Facebook, because I have a business Facebook and then I have a personal Facebook. Can I do a business personal Facebook? Like, should I combine it to actually have it be ready more so I can do it more, or should I like just keep on switching from like one to the other to the other to the other?
There's no way to combine them. You still have to have a personal in order to have a business page. Now, you don't have to be active on your personal, because I have several clients that I've just finally, pried them into the social media world. And then I'm like, you never have to post personally, but you do have to have a personal account tied to your business. And if all you want to do is talk about business stuff, that's great. But that's a good question. Let me show you a little tip that I do. So I definitely have more personal followers than I do, personal friends than I do business. So what do I have? I don't even know how many I got. So let's say this, the one I just showed you that I did yesterday from last week's Leadership Natchitoches, our focus was education. So first of all, what I did was I saw that the chamber had posted it. I went to their Facebook, shared it, put my personal note. Then I moved over to Orhan's personal. God forbid. Okay, good. It came up to my, because I got some very obnoxious friends. I see some random stuff. So then I went and I shared it. If you notice, I actually shared it from Orhan McMillan. As you'll see, it's here. And I shared it to my personal page independently of that. So I'll do a lot of that just because I've got, I don't know how many connections here. I got a lot more connections over here than I do on my business. So I'm hoping that some of them will, migrate over that way. But I constantly am sharing from from my business pages to my personal. So that's because I have, but if you don't have, or you don't want those two things to cross, no, you don't have to do it. Was I sharing my screen? I was not sharing my screen at all, was I? I'm just talking. Sorry.
It's okay.
Real quick. So this one that I shared from Natchitoches, I went, as soon as I did it, then I logged into as my personal Orhan, and then went and found myself. Where am I? Went and found my business page, went over here. It sees it's letting me know that I'm commenting as myself, sharing, and then wrote my little thing and I hit share. So now I'm taking it off of Orhan McMillan Facebook business and put it on Orhan's personal Facebook, because I honestly get a lot more interaction because of my personal connections. So I get a lot more interaction that way. Now, if you
That's
don't have a lot of followers, you don't want, then you don't do that, right? So, Jamie.
So I don't mind doing that, but I'm wondering, do you ever just share like on your personal, just things that you're doing, like also like starting in your personal and what you're talking about work?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, I don't know. I don't do a lot of studying of the algorithms. Melanie had asked about the algorithm, and that just makes me want to jump off a building to try to understand that. I also notice if I go share business into personal, I get less views as opposed to me putting it straight into personal. So there may be something in the algorithm issue that is saying, okay, they're taking a business posting and putting it in, so we're going to limit who sees that. Because sometimes I'll go play with it and I'll take that and I'll go do it myself, and I get like 5 times more engagement if I did it directly as opposed to sharing it from my business page. So there's something in the algorithm going on there.
Okay.
That's
So
how
that's
my
why
page is.
that's how your page is, Jamie.
Yeah, I think I get more action on my personal page than I do on my business page, especially Facebook wise. And I find that, but my problem is consistency, because like I make candles and I make food type candles and regular candles, but I be in my zone. So people like, why you don't record? I say I don't even be thinking about recording, and I know that's good content while I'm doing it, but I don't think about that. I just be kind of making what I'm making. Then when I'm finishing, I'm like, that would have been good. So I'm trying to figure out my balance of
But here's a
that.
tip. I mean,
Same.
because obviously, if you're going to record, I don't think it's right here. I got a stand I use. On your workstation, put the stand right. And so you'll see, oh, look, I got a phone stand. Oh, I could record this. You're going to have to do little small things that will help you think about it.
You're right, because I have two, and they're not in my eyesight unless I'm thinking about recording. So if I pull it out, that will make it a little bit better. Because if I see it sitting somewhere in my face, I would think of recording while I'm doing it.
And I don't like doing video. I mean, as much as I like talking and as social as I am, and how I just now you can do a video. I've had videographers. I love working with videographers, but if I touch that video recorder screen, I look like a fumbling idiot. I had to do a recording the other day about this Natchitoches Youth Summit. Y'all, like 20 takes for me to say 2 minutes worth of stuff. And then I didn't even like the one I had. I'm like, finally, I just gotta I'm done. I don't care what I look like. I'm not gonna watch this. So,
and that's the other problem.
Yeah,
I'm the same way.
But anyway, you're something. So as far as that goes, just kind of set reminders. And as far as content creation, I build it on my calendar. There is it moves every 2 weeks or through the month on my work calendar that I have to put it on there, because I will forget. And I definitely don't want to forget to do the one that's paying me, but I also don't want to forget to do my own. I have to set reminders to myself. This week is social media content for clients. Okay, well, it's blocked off. Things of that nature. So, we all know how we operate. And so we just have to find things internally that work with us in our operating system kind of thing.
All right.
Who was it? Shy was asking about timing. I don't know on the algorithms of timing. I know that like on Facebook, I can say ask for optimal times, Now, for a long time, I was using this program called Sprout Social when I had a lot of client social media accounts, but it runs you about $300, 200 something a month. It was the number of clients justified me doing that. But now that I don't have that many, but it had a feature in there where based on the client, I could go in and say, suggest optimal times. And now, do I know that they were right? I don't, but it made me feel better, about myself. Let me show you what Facebook does too. So Facebook also has, so if I go to let me go back to mine. And then I go to my, where's the business suite? And then create post. All right, let's just make up something. Let's just make up a silly post. All right, and I go here. And then on here, I can click active times. And I think you got to do it like within sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't, okay, let me try this here. Do this here. See, it's not telling me any active time. So why do you have an active time suggestion? I don't understand. But my rule of thumb on that I just think about, because I did use the Sprout Social for so many years, there was a pattern. It was either early morning, so like a 4 to 5 a.m. recommendation. There was 11. So the second one would be the lunchtime, before lunchtime, because the idea is you want it posting if you use the mindset. And when do you get online, or look at social stuff like that? Well, I do it in the morning sometimes. I do it a lot less right now because it puts me in a bad mood, but that's a whole different subject about where we are in the world. But if I was going to, it's going to be early morning. So I want to be in that feed so that when people are on their phones, I'm in that feed somewhere. Lunchtime, we know that people on lunch breaks or things like that, they'll check out Instagram or whatever they're doing. And then evening. So that's kind of like my rule of thumb on. So I'll do something early in the morning, like 5 a.m. I'll do something if I'm shooting for the lunchtime, 11:30, 11 a.m. So it's already in the queue. And then in the evenings, I'll probably hit it about 7 or 8 o'clock, schedule it for people that look at social media at night. And so I don't have a rule of thumb for that. I don't have any proof of that. It works. I can look at engagement and things, and I feel okay about it. So that's kind of how I summarize that on the timing. Nicole had mentioned about the social media ads. I don't do a lot of ad buys. I used to. The clients I have, I don't need it, and it's not something I need to do. Outside of playing around and $25, and this is what I want you to do. I don't have a lot of experience with paid ads on social. It's fun to play with, throw $10, I'll get a few followers and things like that. But I don't have, a lot of experience doing that myself or for clients at this point.
How often do you post?
I try to do at least 4 times a month.
4 times a month.
For a client, 4 times a month. For paid clients, 2 times a week. And I usually hit on I don't rarely ever post, but again, depending who the client is, but I usually hit a Tuesday because I don't want to get caught in the Monday crowd rush. And then Friday, I don't think anybody's really interested in anything, Fridays. And so depending on the client, if I feel that there's a weekend availability, I may hit something on a Saturday with them. But yeah, if I get 4 to 5 my personal businesses out there, I'm fine with that, And my clients, our agreement is 2 times a week, so they're gonna get 8 a month.
Thanks.
Okay, got about 11 more minutes. Are there any other questions that I can answer? Any more specifics for anybody? And then let me just glance at my notes that I made for us here. So again, if you're not doing anything, do something. However you keep track of your task list or whatever that is, just start saying, start listing things that you want. The other way of doing how to begin with this is, what services do you offer? We all offer 1 to 3 or 4 or 5 services. So in that business, what is service 1, 2, 3, 4? And then what can I say one time a month about service 1, service 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Oh, I know what I wanted to show you real quick too before. I use Canva. I love Canva. It's easy, it's fun. This is how I kind of organize my projects in Canva. Every client's got a folder. Let's just go to mine. And Canva makes it so easy. Actually, let me go to one of my client folders because I'm a little bit more. This is a security company out of Baton Rouge that I work with. And then she has 3 areas that I mentioned: armed guard, unarmed guard, CC, the online monitoring. And so when this opens it up, you'll see the graphic panels that I have. I simply go back and I copy and paste or make a new version of each one, change the graphic, change the wording, upload it. So I have a full listing here. My internet connection today has been I think it wants to start vacation early, but doesn't know that we're not starting till Friday. But it's an online platform that I use, so I have every posting I've ever made or every posting I've ever created for this client listed on here. Let's see. Okay, it does not want to cooperate. There it comes. Here we go. So as you can see, this is the theme. Well, I saw it for a second. Now it went away again. We have a specifically designed theme for her and for her company, and so the theme stays the same, and the messaging changes each time. So I'm not going to. But that's kind of how I keep track. And again, I don't really have to overthink it. I go back a few, and I'm like, okay, this last time we did this was uniformed guard. I haven't done that for this month. Make a new uniform guard, a new unarmed guard, a new job posting. We do birthdays and all kind of stuff like that. So any other questions about content calendar and content things of that nature?
So you said Friday's not a great day. What are there any more popular days than others aside from like Friday?
The data that I've kind of seen as I've done like research and things, it shows like an upward curve off of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then as of Thursday, it starts to go down as it relates to business things. Now, I've also seen timeline calendar suggestions that if it's a restaurant, you actually pick up on Thursday and Friday, or an entertainment venue or a social, whatever, that you pick up on that and not Monday, Tuesday. So again, it's what are you trying to promote? What category of business are you in? Yes. Another thing I'll point out that I see, I think if I had to call out the biggest error I see in anything, is if you're trying to get people to come to an event, right? If you want people to go to your event, don't wait 2 days before to post your event or to ask people. My calendar is booked 3 weeks in advance, right? And that is not because I'm that important, because I am not. But my rule of thumb is 4 weeks ahead of time, 2 weeks ahead of time, 1 week ahead of time, at the minimum, if you're trying to market an event or you're trying to get people to show up at something. Because there's so many things they send it out on a Tuesday for that Friday. I'm like, I've already got something happening. And it would be something that I would move my calendar to do if it wasn't such short notice. That's just my little pet peeve when I see things. I'm like, oh, I want to go to that. Why, and yeah. So, okay. All right.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you work with businesses through the Louisiana Economic Development Program? the Small Emerging Business Development Program?
Yes. Yes. I do a lot of work through the SBDCs, but the SEBD certification, yes.
Yes, because I know that'll be something that a lot of the participants here, they get the certification and you can actually do the training and deliverables to whereas you can help them create the content and train them on how to use it.
Yes. Like I
With
do
the,
a lot of trainings through the SBDCs, et cetera. Correct. Yes.
I'm saying the individual businesses that hold the certifications, they have $2,500 per year for 10 years to utilize your services or another marketing services.
They do, but it's not that easy and it's not that low hanging fruit. I'm very close with LED and am I being recorded right now? Because I don't think I want this
Right.
on record.
No, I'm just saying something that I use for my clients and get approved. So, I mean,
Yes.
for those.
It's just, it seems like with a lot, my challenge ongoing is getting the approval from the offices that I am connected with. They talk about it. Yeah, the intermediaries they talk about it and they, use this. And I'm like, okay, we want so and so. Well, now we've got to do the application. Now we have to do the assessment. Now we got to decide what, and then we got to come back to you. And I'm like, okay, it's yes. And then anyway, I'm being recorded. But yes, it is a valuable tool that we can talk about more to getting, and maybe I will reach out to see, Latasha, how you getting success in it. Because I know them people personally, and I'm like, hello.
It's all about the intermediary that you have on your team that's going to push for you.
Yes, yes. And I got 5. So anyway, all right, everybody. Thank y'all. Do y'all feel like this first one was okay? Did we do all right with it? Yeah. I got some new topics and things. Big B.
Yeah, I think it's good. I wish we had, more time, but we have many hours of this over the next year.
We do.
So we don't worry if you didn't feel like your questions are answered because we have this is going to be ongoing for the next 12 months and you'll have the option to keep doing more programs. So
Well, thank you all.
so yeah, I mean, in terms of next topic, the 3 that I kind of picked up on are social media ads, SEO optimization, and non-traditional marketing. I don't know I don't know how we can vote, but maybe a show of hands. How about social media ads, creating them? How many people you can
I
put a
couldn't talk
hand?
for an hour. I wouldn't be able
You
to talk
couldn't.
for an hour.
Okay.
I can find some YouTube videos we could watch, but I
What
don't know.
about that and SEO combined?
But we could
What?
do SEO analytics. I wouldn't mind doing
SEO
analytics.
analytics. All right.
Yeah.
Let's make the next session on SEO analytics. I see some nodding heads. I think that's a
Perfect.
pretty
I'll try
important
some Google
topic for
analytics
everybody.
and social media insights and just kind of how
Yep.
to cross dive into those and look at some of the we'll log into my dashboards and look at how few people actually look at anything that I post. So and I
Yeah,
don't care. I'm doing it for me.
I have
I'm doing it.
analytics as well, and I do not look at them enough, so this will be useful for me.
Right,
So that'll be
our
on the
next
17th of July for everybody here. I will send a calendar invite a week beforehand. I just don't like to do everything. I'm about to send you the ones for Tuesday, so I try and not overload people's inboxes with calendar invites. Anyway, thanks so much, Orhan. Thanks everyone for showing up today. I thought it was
Thank
a
you.
great session. First of many, and I think it's I think this is a valuable resource to add to what we have on the program. So I'm
Everyone
happy
have
with
a
it.
great 4th of July, or what did you call it the other
Yeah.
day, Victor? What was
It's the British call it Ungrateful Colonials Day.
Happy Ungrateful Colonials Day.
Yeah,
And
that's what the Queen used to call it, famously.
That's awesome. All right,
All
y'all.
right,
Take
Pete.
care.
All right, take care, everybody. Thanks. Bye.